the Ninja. That's the little Amazon Speedo I'm installing that I managed to blow a fuse trying to figure out because I couldn't find any diagrams for that. Anyway, this battery box was part of the original air box, and then I just made this little square bracket out of sheet metal from Lowe's and just cut it out with a Dremel, spray painted it, and then drilled 2 holes through the plate here, and mounted the plate to the inside of the box so that I can just remove these 2 bolts and the whole thing comes out. Anyway, that's where this is routed. If you can see that, I've got it running along the frame. So from this angle and both sides, you really can't see it unless you're really looking for it. Once the seat's on, it comes down to about there. There's the K&N. And as you can see, everything's hidden. This master cylinder I'm going to relocate once I do the framework, and then the whole back end will be completely open. My very sad, untouched XJ. Alright, so this is, since this works on a vacuum, you should know that it doesn't leak no matter what position it's on, because the gas has to be sucked out of it. Alright, I'll show you the where I've got everything routed. I can be able to see anything for a second. Alright, so as you can see, this might look a little sloppy, but once the seat's on and tank's on, everything is pretty well hidden. This I need to zip tie along the frame there, but there's my whole setup. This fuse box, which I'm about to need to access, I have everything zip tied. But yeah, that's that. If you need to, really everything, if you're familiar with your shit, there was a big plastic panel here that bolted right there, and I cut this piece off to support that, but it was a big plastic chunk that all these things slid onto in some kind of, you know, everything's got a little tab where it had attached, but that's how I've got everything routed to hide it. It's completely invisible once the tank and seat are on. This is my customized coolant overflow tank, which I just took the original coolant overflow hose, heard plenty of misinformation about how it needed to be at a certain height and all that shit, which is completely false. But took the original hose here, found this metal water bottle at Goodwill, and then drilled a circle through the cap, ran the hose all the way down to the bottom, and then on the end of the hose, if you can imagine, imagine this as the end of the hose, where it would seat down in the bottom of the bottle like that, so that it wouldn't, you know, become blocked. I just drilled holes through the end of it, and so this hose goes through the cap all the way to the bottom. This is completely full of coolant, well, probably to about here, because it expands and contracts depending on the temperature. And then to vent it, I just drilled a very small hole through the cap, which I would not recommend doing if you don't check your coolant regularly, because obviously dust particles and dirt can get in there, but it's very, very small. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, there we go. That's the vent hole, just enough so that, you know, things can expand and all that good shit. And it's just one of these holding it on. But yeah, that's that. That was the majority of what I had to do to get everything nice and cleaned up. I still have a bunch of other shit to do, but I'll update you guys later. This is the Jag headlight, which has turned out to be really fucking cool. That's mounted by a little thing that goes around the ignition switch. It's like a little custom piece of sheet metal that I bent to work with this, and it slides under right there, and two little screws hold it on so that it's adjustable back and forth. And then just remove the horn mount. I'm trying to get that to get a little darker. Just two little L brackets made out of sheet metal with a Dremel. Hold it in place, but it's on really sturdy and it works great. It's bright as fuck too. Let's see. Yeah, I'll do another video on this speedometer. But yep, that's that. This I'd shaved down with an angle grinder from the original shape just for fun, because I'm going to totally redo the back end later. I'd like to have this squared off with a big square red tail light, and I've got mini blinkers coming that are going to go in right here, and I just want to do a really thin, flat leather seat, and I'm rambling. So if you have any other questions, shoot me a message. I'm more than glad to help.